Welcome back to the Jump Take Talk Show, episode 14, starring Jake Williams, Tristan Abbott, and Mr. G. As always, your star of the show is Marty Peterson. Now, as always, we are going to just go right into football talk. Since the NFL season's over, we're going to claim it football. And our first one is about the draft that's coming up. And the thing that happens before the draft is obviously the combine. Okay, now some people might ask, oh, is the combine important? The combine is very important. If you do great, you can raise your draft stock. If you do bad, you're going to lower your draft stock. So today we're going to discuss the top prospect that we all think could hurt their stock with the combine. Now, my answer would be, is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts transfers, he goes to Oklahoma, he promises a natty, he doesn't get it. There's really no upside to him. Right now, he's on every draft board. He's one of the last picks in the draft. I feel like if he has a bad combine, honestly, I could see him going undrafted. And that's my top prospect that could hurt his stock pretty easily. What do you think?
Well, I think Jerry Jeudy from Alabama. He's supposed to be like one of the best wide receivers, but if he doesn't post a super fast 40 and his production this year wasn't as great, he could drop down in the draft.
Not to agree with Jake, but the different players, CD Lamb, same with his 40 time. If he gets a bad one, he might drop down, but yeah.
Well, the way I look at the combine is if you're predicted by whoever makes the predictions to be a top 20 pick, there's no reason to go. But I will agree with Mr. Peterson that probably Jalen Hurts has that possibility. He did have a good year. He threw up the numbers. Unfortunately, when they played in the first round, they played LSU and they got blown out in the first half. That probably was like a knife in his back right there to begin with, and for him to step out and go to that combine, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
All right, and now we're going to jump into the NFL and its players. So one of the coolest things in the NFL is there are siblings in the NFL. There's a lot of them. There's the Bosa's and the Watts and the McCourties and the Kelseys. So we're going to discuss who we think the best sibling duo/trio in the league is. And my answer to this question is going to be the McCourties. They have been all-pro corners and safeties. They're all-pro secondary. They're Super Bowl champions, I believe 2-time Super Bowl champions. They're winners. And you could say because they're on the Patriots, yes, but they're all-pros. They're what makes that defense good, especially Devin. He's always been an all-pro every single season. I just feel like, yes, there's 3 Watts, and maybe the Bosa's will be better in the future, but right now, with their accomplishments, their Super Bowls, they're all pros, and the McCourties are the best siblings in the NFL.
Kelsey's best tight end in the league, arguably the best center in the league, all pro. I mean, Travis just won a Super Bowl and he performed pretty well all year. I gotta go with the Kelsey's.
How important is the center, though?
Center's more important
Than a DB and a safety? I don't think so.
Yes,
No.
the center calls the blitzes, calls out blitzes, pass protection,
you realize-
stuff like that. He calls everything out. He's more important than a
Jake.
corner or a safety.
Jake, you realize these two together shut down the whole side of the field.
You
Correct?
do realize that the center keeps the quarterback, the moneymaker, the thrower safe.
You realize, we discussed this in another show, defense is more important than offense. You even said that yourself.
Exactly.
So don't be a
Defense is more
hypocrite.
important- Defense is more important than offense. That's why you have to have the best center, so then the defense can't get to your quarterback.
So if defense is more important, why are you picking 2 offense? You're being a hypocrite.
How's that being a
Go ahead,
hypocrite? How's that being a hypocrite?
I don't think it is, but
Go
Let's go
ahead.
with the Bosa's.
I know.
Nick Bosa just got Rookie of the Year. Joey Bosa, he was decent this year, but he was good in past years. And I think there's a lot of future for them.
now Mr. Peterson did not specify whether it's current or past brothers. I'm going to go with the Payton brothers, plus their dad too.
The man.
Manning.
Yeah, what am I saying? Manning, the Manning brothers, and their dad. Archie was on the New Orleans Saints in the late 60s, early 70s, and did a lot with nothing. And then we had Peyton and Eli. How many Super Bowls between them?
Eli has 2.
They have 4 together.
4 together. So I'm going back with old school. I'm going with the Manning brothers, not the Peyton brothers.
What about current?
Current, I'm going to go the Watts because I just think the one, JJ just makes such an impact. The other brothers are kind of like,
And if he can stay on the field.
that is true.
I would
But-
say TJ's the best right now.
Well, it's because JJ
Yes.
plays with such enthusiasm, right?
Yeah.
Plays all out the whole time.
Right, but that's what hurts him. If he could stay on the field, I would give
Okay,
him the best.
Mr. Peterson, if you had a player that you're paying millions and millions of dollars to, would you want him not to play full board?
That's not the point. I just think TJ, if you're playing for the future, you're picking TJ. You're not picking JJ.
Hey, we're just saying the best
Right now?
brother
Right
combination.
TJ had a better season.
No, but we're saying it has not, I'm not picking out the best brother, I'm picking out the best brother combination, right?
Right.
You've misconstrued the question, by
Right.
changing it.
I know, but
You
my point
understand?
is, I do understand. And
There
Derek,
are two added as dad, it's siblings, not whole family.
No, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if I could go old school, it would be
Right.
the minute.
but back to your watt argument, JJ can't stay healthy. Derek doesn't do much of anything. Okay, fullback, cool, but they're one of the least important people on the field. Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know.
Most teams don't even have a fullback.
Certain fullbacks can make a difference in terms of how
That's
they do
cool.
the blocking screen.
CJ Ham.
But no, he's not even the best.
Don't treat me like Mr. Peterson, okay? Do not treat me like Mr. Peterson.
Kyle Juszczyk is the best fullback in the league. Derek Watt isn't even close to that. The Niners fullback, yeah, he's not
Alright,
even
next
close
topic.
to that.
Okay, let's go to the next topic.
All right.
You're ignorant.
All right, now we're going to drive right into a topic that we talked about before on the show, where we talked about should running backs be paid high. Well, now we're going to discuss who should be paid higher, running backs or wide receivers. And in my case, I'm going to go with the wide receiver. I feel like you have a receiver like Julio Jones, you have a receiver like Hopkins. I feel like that changes, especially like down near the goal line when you're 5 yards away, you can throw that fadeaway touchdown. I feel like it makes more than a difference than, let's take examples. Todd Gurley gets a big contract, stops producing. David Johnson gets a big contract, stops producing. Everybody, yeah, it's because running backs can't keep that up. You can't give running backs big contracts like wide receivers because wide receivers can stay on that field longer. And in this passing game that we live in, they make a bigger difference.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Running backs. OBJ. Travis
what?
Landry, what are they?
That's not their fault they don't have a quarterback. The quarterback's
Baker
supposed to work.
Mayfield
What?
can make the throws to play.
He was second in interceptions this weird take.
Well, it's not his fault. He's getting hit every time he touches the ball.
What
His
are you
O-line is not
talking
good.
about?
His O-line's not good.
So we're just gonna say he dropped like 20 times worse this year just because of his O-line. He's got to take accountability sometime, Jake.
Yeah, and his O-line also has to protect him
I think
sometimes.
because they're running back. Running back can block for you.
Yeah.
So the running back should be paid more.
Okay, let's think. Let's think. The Chiefs had a decent running back.
Yep.
Okay. 49ers had two good running backs.
Yep. And they
Okay.
lost.
They lost.
Yep. And who had a better receiving core? The Chiefs. And they won.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
49ers,
but let me finish this.
49ers definitely had a better receiving core.
No.
Yes.
Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins.
Curtis Samuel, Debo.
Who's the other one for the Chiefs? Who am I forgetting? That McCall Hardman. Yeah.
Okay.
Travis Kelce.
Can I please talk?
Yes, go.
Okay, I go with the running backs. When you have a solid running game, your pass game goes off of it. Your wide receivers get open easier because they're all focused on the running back.
Yeah.
It's gotta be the running back because if you don't have a good running back, they can just, or at least a threat at a running back, they can just drop 7 and rush forward.
Do you consider the Texans an elite team?
Huh?
Do you consider the Texans an elite team?
No.
No, but I
Oh,
consider
okay.
Derrick Henry as an elite running back.
I said Texans, not Titans.
Oh.
Do you consider
Texans.
Texans an elite team?
The Titans are not an elite team.
I said Texans.
Texans?
They got one of
Yes.
the best running
No.
backs.
No?
They're not an
Texans?
elite team.
Elite?
Quarterback.
Are they elite? They have a receiver, not a running back. Mike Rubin, go ahead,
No.
Mr. G. No,
That's
sorry.
what made you.
No, go ahead.
You said they have a receiver, not a running back.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
right.
You're
Okay.
wrong.
The receiver should be paid more.
Do the,
If they're elite, because they have their wide receiver.
no, they're not.
If you
elite because
swap
of that.
Hopkins,
They're not even elite.
if you swap Hopkins for Gurley, or we'll say.
What does Hopkins do against the New England Patriots? Absolutely nothing.
Because we have the McCourty brothers.
If you have-
My point.
If you have wide receiver more important. Why can't they win with DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best wide receivers?
I didn't say he can take over. It's not basketball. One player can't take over, but I'm
A
saying
running
they.
back can take over
Yeah.
a game.
Okay, then why
Just
didn't
like
Derrick Henry?
Just like Moses.
You're telling me Derrick Henry didn't take over games?
took
Just like
many-
when Moses
He
got
took over
against
the
Packers,
Ravens
yeah.
game, and he took over the.
When Moses
oh,
from 49ers.
Yeah,
what else? What
right.
other game?
Right, but you realize DeAndre Hopkins has been taking over games for like 6 years, and Derrick Henry's.
I thought you said wide receiver can't take over games. Nice try, bud.
He takes over games all the
Here
time.
you go, Mr.
Chris,
D.
you
I already
can-
have running backs.
I've listened to the arguments on both sides because I can't really make a decision, like, what is Christian McCaffrey? Is he a
Running back.
He's
receiver?
a running back.
Okay, I don't know, it's
back's
hard,
pretty
I think
fair.
it really has to do with the system that you run, and I hate saying the system, but I think, like, the 49ers in the Super Bowl, they had a great running game, right?
Yeah.
Did they go away from it?
A little bit.
In the second half, they did, they didn't run the ball anymore, they were throwing the ball, so I'm
Just because
thinking,
they were down.
not necessarily, I don't think they were down when they started
Yeah.
throwing the ball on third down and.
Well, why wouldn't you throw the ball on third down when it's third and?
But they were throwing on second down too. That's why the head coach got all the
Grief.
grief from.
Because they went away from their running game.
I don't know. I'm gonna say even Steven, pay them both about the same level. I'm sorry.
All right, well, that was a hot topic. Now we're going to go right into our basketball topics. So we had this discussion the other day. Who is the deepest team in the NBA? And I think this is a pretty easy question. They don't have a superstar necessarily. They don't have a Giannis or LeBron. But the Celtics have the deepest team. They have at least 5 players that can
Who's
score.
coming off their bench though?
Jalen Brown?
Jalen Brown's coming off the bench.
Pretty sure he
You
starts.
idiot.
Who? How?
He starts. What do you
Okay,
mean, how?
Marcus Smart?
Pretty sure he got traded.
No, he did not.
No, he's on the roster right
Yeah,
now.
he's still there.
Okay,
Marcus
one
Smart,
person.
he's washed up.
Well,
Exactly. And then you got the 5 starters.
Deepest team. Deepest team is the bench.
Okay. Okay, the
Okay.
bench.
Yep.
The bench for the Clippers.
Or the
Lou
Lakers.
Williams.
Okay.
Marquise Morris.
Marcus.
He starts now,
And he starts now.
but
Because of injury.
I don't know who
Pretty
he
sure.
replaced.
Because Paul George is injured.
Yeah, so right now, the deepest team is Celtics because they're
No,
always
it doesn't-
injured.
It doesn't say right now. It says the deepest team in the NBA.
Okay.
So I don't want to hear it about right
Well,
now.
and they can't be deep if they're not there. But
And then,
alright.
he starts. Who did they just pick up? That point guard?
Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson.
Ooh, wow. They had 7
And
turnovers.
then they,
Solid
then they
player.
have then they have that other young guard.
Shaman.
Yeah.
Landry Shamet. You see, you're naming all of these players like they're good.
But you can't
They
even,
are.
you can't even
You
name
read-
off
Lou
people
Williams
from
was
the
the sixth
Celtics.
man of the year.
Okay, you realize that
Marquise Morris.
Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson in their past game were 9 for 33 on shots and had 7 turnovers. Did you know that?
Defense.
That's one
Did you know
game.
that? Oh, wow, defense. That's-
Marquise
one
Morris
game.
can block up LeBron.
Oh
Slow
my
him down.
goodness. Oh
Or
my
slow
goodness.
him down.
I'm the ignorant one here, Mr. J.
Or slow him down.
No. Come on now, Jake. You had a good argument till there. Go ahead, Chris.
I'm probably gonna have to go with the Clippers.
Alright.
Or the Lakers. I'm not for sure who's their bench.
Oh,
but I know
like-
that they have.
You know, it's funny, like I told you before we started, I actually researched this at
Okay.
lunch today. And I went to an NBA site, I went through every team and looked at them. Basically, the way I looked at it is I looked at their starting, and then I went to the second. What they did is the chart was starters, first off the bench, and then like the guys that are relegated to no playing time whatsoever. So, went through that, and I came down to 2 teams, and it's really close. It's either the Lakers or the Clippers.
Told you.
Now, the Lakers have 3 centers on their roster.
Mm-hmm.
DeMarcus Cousins, does he play? I don't
He
know.
got
He
cut.
can't. No, he did not.
He
get
still
cut.
did. He got
He
waived.
said-
Got wavered.
He got wavered for Marquise Morris.
It must have happened within the last couple of days because he was still on the roster that I saw. Kyle Kuzma is now coming off the bench according to this website.
So
So,
Kuzma over Marcus Morris.
so I'm going to say Clippers, Lakers. It's, you know,
Alright,
I mean, Boston's there, but they're like third
It's
slot.
funny how you couldn't name more than one person coming off the bench.
I'm not a
for Boston.
Celtics fan, but I know
Couldn't
their
even a
name.
center coming off the bench or point guard.
Cody Zeller, I believe, is on that team. There you go.
He's not that good.
Cody
Cody Zeller is terrible.
Brook Lopez is better than Cody Zeller.
All right, now we're going to move into our next NBA topic. And as we all know, with the trade from the Rockets to get Robert Covington, the real question nowadays in the NBA is, can small ball actually work? And I feel like the Warriors kind of brought this into play when they first started their dynasty, and now the Rockets are pushing it even a step further. But I feel like when it really comes to playoff time, I feel like that small ball is going to struggle, just like it has in years past. They have an off night, the Rockets have an off shooting night like they have against the Warriors. Yes, the Warriors were better. But they have an off shooting night, and they go against somebody like the Lakers with Anthony Davis, who can't have a off shooting night when he's 2 feet away from the rim. He can drop 50 2 feet away from the rim, whereas Harden can have a 9 for 33 night any day of the
Harden
week.
having a 9 for 33 night.
Oh, it happened.
They got like 50 points. for
Oh,
like
it
the past.
happened. Oh, it's happened a lot. They miss shots. So I feel like it'll work through the regular season, but I feel like you don't want that kind of team in the playoffs. Because if they have an off night or a couple off nights, it's all over.
First off, Anthony Davis, 4 points is what he's averaging in the fourth quarter.
Okay?
And his field goal percentage goes from like 53 to 40. It's
Okay.
terrible in the fourth. And then the playoffs, that's what matters, is the fourth quarter.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't think he'll step it up?
Huh?
You don't think he'll step it up? It's just like the Clippers. They're going to play their star players in the playoffs. Playoffs are different.
They do. He
He
gets the
does.
ball so much, and you can't do anything with it, first of all, okay? But small ball will work.
Is he a top 5 player in the NBA?
Anthony Davis, you consider him to be?
Is he in your book?
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I thought.
That means nothing, though, when he's not clutch.
He can be clutch. That's my
Okay,
point.
the argument he can't be clutch because he hasn't proven it yet.
He never proved it on his all-star years with the Pelicans? Or did you not watch those years because he was in New Orleans?
The one year they made the playoffs. Oh yeah, so cool.
Who was on his
After
team?
7 years.
Who was on his team? Utwan Moore and Omir Osik? Wow.
If he's so good, he should be able to get him to the playoffs more than once.
You just said he was good. You said he's top 5. What is good? Number 1? You said top 5.
Okay.
Okay,
Small
go ahead.
ball will work in the NBA.
Yeah, in the regular season.
It will work in the playoffs.
I don't think it
How
would.
did the Warriors beat the Cavs the first time?
Okay, you can't compare the Warriors to the Cavs because the Warriors were way
How?
more talented.
The first
And you
year
know
when the Cavs had LeBron, Kyrie,
The
Love,
first year Kyrie was injured in the finals. So was Kevin Love. LeBron was by himself.
they were still up 3-1 the second year. Until Draymond got suspended, Clay got hurt, and all this
Exactly.
happened to the Warriors. So I
Exactly.
don't want to hear it.
Yeah, they got
Small ball will work.
No,
Nice
it's
try.
not. Go ahead, Chris.
For small ball to work, you need like a 5 that can stretch the floor and make easy baskets. But Robert Covington, I don't think he can post up against them elite centers, so I don't think it will work.
That's right.
He just named it because when Phoenix, I'm not sure the year it was, where they made it to the conference finals, and then there was, Steve Nash got pushed out of bounds, and there was a bench clearing brawl, and they suspended Stoudemire, I think.
Yeah, Amari Stoudemire.
I think they would have won that against the Lakers. The only problem with Houston, they don't play small ball because Harden is not small ball. Harden is ball in my hand, I need it, I'm gonna keep it. So they're not, are they really playing small ball, or they have an alignment that kind of looks like small ball? You need a Stoudemire. Stoudemire could run the court, like he said, and could shoot the ball, could stretch the court, because he was like 6'11", very athletic, and so.
Lopez.
So I don't even think
Small
Houston's
ball.
playing small ball. I like the question, can it win? Houston's not playing small ball, because Harden, figure the percentages. What does he have the ball in his hand per game? What percent?
Probably about 70.
Yeah, so that's not small ball, because small ball, you're up and down the court, stretching the court.
Bucks are small
So what
ball.
about the Bucks? You think the Bucks can win if they put all shooters around Giannis and let Giannis go to work?
Yes,
Yeah.
but they don't have all shooters around.
Giannis is like
I
Shaq.
said,
If they did, yes.
okay, so it can work.
That's not small ball.
Okay,
Small ball is
so
what
wait,
he's
I
talking
have a question.
Yep.
Clippers, they don't play with the center, but they play with Kawhi, Paul George.
Montrezl Harrell's not a center?
I'm saying if they don't, you
If they
gotta learn to listen and use your ears.
All right.
Okay, Kawhi, Paul
Yep.
George, Lou Williams, Patrick Beverly, and throw in a power forward,
Who are you going to throw in there? They don't have
Marcus Morris.
Okay.
Okay, he's like 6'8".
Yeah.
Okay, is that not small ball?
Yeah, that would be small ball.
Okay, you're not telling me that they can't win a championship?
I don't think they beat the Lakers, no. I don't think
I
they.
heard the Rockets play, but do the Rockets run like a 5 out, or why do they consider it?
Yeah, they can run with 5 out.
They run 5
5 out,
out.
I thought it's 1-4.
Well,
One
no,
with the bar,
they-
4 standing around.
pretty much, yeah. They clear out the paint, and then James Harden will usually drive.
Let's get back to the small ball. Phoenix actually played small ball when Barkley was there.
Right.
And the reason why that didn't work, there was one problem.
Different era.
Oh, there's one problem. That's when the Lakers were great.
The Bulls.
Lakers.
It was the Bulls in the
Well,
90s.
Well, didn't Barkley finish off towards the end of his career with, he did play, you're right, he did
Yeah.
play the Bulls, but I think towards the end, Phoenix was playing it at that time. You're not gonna beat Jordan,
2000, yeah.
and they're not gonna beat the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, right?
Yeah.
So I think it can be done. The problem is in the NBA, and this is the biggest problem with the NBA, they have this star system. I mean, when the Lakers got West, Baylor, and Chamberlain, it was through trades or drafting. It wasn't, hey, come play with me.
Right.
That's why I don't watch the NBA anymore, because it's like, well, okay, so you called your friends over and they come over. That's
Bucks
not,
don't do that.
They can't do that, that's a problem.
That's right, there's no market. All right, and now we're gonna go to, since we were so heated into debate over teams, we're gonna go into, is this the most competitive league we've seen in a while? And I think yes. At least in the West it is. The East is kind of overpowered with the top 2 teams, but the West, I feel like at least 4 or 5 teams could take the West.
2 teams in the East.
Yes,
Who?
the Celtics and the Bucks.
Well, the Raptors, though. Raptors number 2.
What about
Stars.
Philadelphia?
Yeah, what about Philly? What about Miami?
You think that there's not gonna
Haven't
show
you
up
seen
in
the
playoffs?
commercial? It's great.
Oh my gosh.
No, Miami.
Philly definitely can play.
No, they're imploding like someone referenced before.
They can play. Philly
Yep.
can play. Miami, I mean, they're not
They're
a top,
young.
they're not a top team, but they can play.
They're young and a bully team like the 90s Knicks. They're not
They're not
gonna
gonna
win.
get bullied.
No, they're a bully
They're the
team.
bullying team.
Yes, they're not
They
gonna win.
can.
No, they're just like the 90s Knicks.
Yes, the league
They
is.
have Jimmy
The
Butler.
league
They have
overall
Bam-
is more competitive.
Jimmy
Yes.
Butler and Bam on a bye.
Okay.
It's to you. Is it more competitive?
Huh?
Is it more competitive than past years?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think?
I don't think it's necessarily more, I think the word competitive and parity, there's a difference between the two. I think there's parity in the league now because parity means there's more talent distributed
Yeah.
amongst teams. I don't know if it's more competitive. We talked about like the Spurs have dropped out of the playoff race.
Yeah.
They're 500 now, I think, as of yesterday. So, but we were thinking Spurs had a chance. But I think it's more parity.
With the Kings.
Right.
So the Kings had a chance.
Kings had a chance.
Are they 500 now?
So what do you think? Is it competitive?
It's competitive in the sense that there's just more parity amongst the league.
All right, now we're gonna move into our hot take over the past weekend, which is obviously the biggest boxing match over the past couple months, and that is Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. And we talked about this before. We all made our predictions in our earlier episodes, and all I have to say about it was a flat-out beatdown. The bigger man destroyed the littler man, and it was that simple. And I think Wilder,
The weights.
I think
Like the Goose did.
I think, no, Wilder is about 213 and Fury's 254. I looked this up, and I think Wilder knows he got beat too, because did you see his excuse he just came out with? He says his legs were tired from wearing his 45-pound costume out to the ring. That was his excuse for getting knocked down. Now, I think that's just utterly ridiculous. If you watch the fight, Fury absolutely clocked him, and if Wilder has came out and said he wants a third fight this summer, there's nothing really to say. Tyson Fury is the best heavyweight fighter in the world at the moment. What do you think, Jake?
I don't know, I didn't watch the fight, so I don't have much of an opinion on it. But I definitely do think there needs to be a third fight. So Wilder's corner can't just throw in the towel when he still wants to fight.
Jake, he had to go to the hospital after the game to check for brain damage.
He still wanted to fight. I mean, you gotta let him go.
This towel was not going to let him. This
Wilder
corner
won?
was. No, Fury won.
Fury won.
This corner was not going to let him be a vegetable the rest of his life. That's what the corner's one of their responsibilities
I know,
is.
but I'm saying, if you were there and it was like if it was the belt on the line, you don't want to have him actually knock you out.
Jake, if he would have kept going, he would have been brain dead. It's that simple. Jake, that's what they had to go check for. He couldn't even talk straight after the match. That's what he went to the hospital for.
I'm just saying, wouldn't you want to get knocked out?
No, I'm not taking brain damage over some title. He gets a third fight.
That's why you're not a boxer.
That's why he gets a third fight.
That's why you're not a boxer. So sneak and go.
That doesn't make any sense.
He just gave you one of those, okay?
He doesn't even make any sense.
Okay.
I didn't really watch the fight, but I saw when Fury was licking the blood off Wilder that he
Yeah.
caused. That was kind of crazy. And if they get the fight, I think Fury would have to give Wilder his second loss of his career.
Well, Marty and I talked about this, and I listened. I didn't see the fight because I won't pay for those things. Fury, we talked about it, this is his opt-out. He can opt out of the third fight. He's already been twice. Why take the chance of losing?
Now they tied the first time.
No, well, they called Fury win, and then they took it to like whatever their CBA is, and they called it controversial draw.
Exactly, so it's a draw.
But Fury had his hand raised in the first place.
Well-
So, tied. At the end of the day, it was a tie.
Fury has a chance of boxing the other British,
Anthony Joshua.
Joshua, who holds the other 3 belts.
Yeah.
And Fury has 2 of them. Why not combine them and make more money that way?
Right.
with regards to what Mr. Peterson said, most fighters do go to the hospital no matter what after the fight.
Right, but he was in bad shape.
And again, this is just old school. I would take Muhammad Ali against both of these guys, and Muhammad would just outbox them.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they really weren't boxers, is what I heard.
They're hitters, yeah, they're sluggers. And, you know, what did, George Foreman came in as the hardest hitter of all time, and Ali played rope-a-dope. Just sat there and let Foreman pound away, and then when he got tired,
Right.
boom. And anybody that wears 45 pounds on their back to the ring is stupid to begin with, and he probably has
Well,
brain damage already.
he definitely does, because he said before the fight that he could beat Mike Tyson in his prime.
Well, what did Duran say about the second or third fight with Leonard? Oh, I drank tea, and I was weak before I went into the fight.
Right.
And it's just like my legs were shaking. Come on.
Yeah.
You've been boxing for 20 years, probably 30 years of his life. And you guys don't even remember that fight. You weren't even born yet, but that's what Duran used when he said no mas.
Right. Well, I don't think, well, they got crammed or cleaned. All right, now we're gonna move on to our baseball topics, which I will leave it up to my co-stars. Go ahead, the show is yours.
Okay, number one, Garrett Cole, probably the highest paid and most
Sought after free agent.
free agent, and he's throwing 98 miles an hour on his first outing. Is that smart?
Jake, it's your show.
I mean,
No.
You could answer to that.
90 million or no?
98 is probably in the top 5% pitchers in the
Yeah.
MLB.
Oh, see, I don't know baseball.
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as he warmed up before, I think it's fine because, yeah, he's gonna be throwing that all year, so why not?
Okay.
Why not start early? Although it could hurt him later on in the year.
Do you think they should protect his arm like they did with Strasburg, where they pitched him like you can only pitch 120 innings during a season?
Yeah, they probably should limit it like during the regular season and let him go crazy in the postseason.
No baseball?
I agree with Jake.
Okay. Madison Baumgartner is doing rodeo contests under an assumed name. Is he jeopardizing his contract with the Diamondbacks by doing something like that? Because it was roping. He's being paid, what, 14, 15, 16 million dollars to be a pitcher?
It's not like bull riding or anything.
I think they said it was roping.
No,
Team
it's
roping, actually, it was
It's
team.
fine.
It's fine? But he didn't tell his employer that he was doing it. He's doing it.
That's a great area, but it doesn't it doesn't hurt him like. I don't think that would hurt your arm.
What if you roped, I don't know much about roping, what if you roped it and there was a jerking sensation? Possibly? I'm just thinking, if I'm
Maybe.
making, 33, 34, and you're making 15 to $20 million a year, can't you wait a couple more years to go into competitive roping? I think it's dumb on his part.
I mean, it's no different than like all the people using like the ATVs and going crazy with those.
Yeah, it is.
How?
ATVs, you're not using your arms. That's
Yeah,
what
but you could
boxing
tip
is.
it and land on your arm or shoulder or whatever.
I can see like doing a hobby as like bowling or something, not roping. No roping.
Okay, what about Altuve? First preseason game, he's booed and he gets clipped by a pitch. Is this what's gonna happen the whole season with him?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna happen for at least the first quarter to half of the season.
Once around the league, and then they'll stop throwing at him?
Yeah.
What about, last question, hockey, we talked about it. What about this 42-year-old Zamboni machine driver that got to be in an NHL game as the emergency goalie? That means the first goalie was injured, second goalie was injured for the Carolina Hurricane against, I think it was Toronto, and
Yeah, it was the Maple Leafs.
he wins the game as a 42-year-old. Do you think Carolina should hire him for the season, bring him on the roster? Because he's like a promotional item, not a player, but a promotional item. Because everybody loves him right now. Social media in North Carolina is going crazy because they let this guy, 42 years old, come into a hockey game.
He got in.
Yeah.
He played the last
Yeah.
two periods.
And hockey, they have I guess a backup goalie, yeah, that comes in for free and like he gets to sit in the crowd, and then if two of the goalies get injured, he comes in.
So two of the goalies got injured that game.
Yeah, but they were winning 6-1, but he hadn't played hockey professionally since his 20s. So this is
No,
a
like earlier in the 2000s, he was gonna play, then he got injured or something bad happened to him.
Well, he had a kidney replaced.
Yeah, kidney replaced, and then he couldn't play anymore.
Yeah, I think you keep him around for marketing reasons.
I mean, you put him as a minimum salary of 100, in the NHL it's probably 150,000 minimum salary. You imagine the promotional dollars they can get from like putting him in commercials
Mhm.
and selling him to corporate sponsors.
Marketing, yeah.
But you take it away from a spot that actually could help you.
Didn't say it was on you could, in hockey you can have, what is it, the DNPs, did not play, coach's decision. You put him on the roster and you've gotta have somebody in his late 30s that's on the fourth line or doesn't even play a regular shift. Get rid of him.
He was terrible. He let up like 3 goals right away. as soon
They
as he got in
won,
there.
they won. What would you have done? Would you have peed in your pants? Because I would. If I was
Well, yeah, but still, he's not good. He's not a NHL goalie.
That's what we're saying. Should they be using him as a promotional tool?
Yes, and I think we're gonna end the show there before we carry on too long. Thank you for watching the show. Tune in next time.
Nice weekend.